The asphalt was already spilling across my lawn when I rushed outside. A mixer thundered just 10 feet from my lake, steam rising off the fresh black surface as cones cut to my grass like they had always belonged there. In the middle of it all stood a woman in a white tracksuit, calmly pointing at my property and ordering the crew to keep moving. "Stop," I yelled. "You're on my land." She didn't even glance at me. The roller kept advancing, the ground trembling under my boots as the road pushed deeper into my yard, inch by inch, heading straight toward the water like it had every right to be there. I pulled out my phone. "You don't have a right." She finally turned, gave a small smile, and said the HOA approved it. This is a community road now. That was the moment I stopped arguing. If they were going to turn my land into a roadway, they were about to learn exactly who controlled access here. Claire Wells moved through my yard like she owned it, treating permission like something optional. She didn't introduce herself, didn't ask a single question. Instead, she lifted her clipboard, pointed toward the lawn's edge, and ordered the crew to widen the pour. When one worker hesitated, she snapped that the board had already approved everything and delays wouldn't be tolerated. He immediately went back to work. No one questioned her. No one even looked at me. I stepped closer, and only then did she acknowledge my existence. She told me to move back, gesturing uphill, saying this was an HOA project. I told her again that it was my property. She sighed like she was dealing with someone slow and calmly explained that the lakeside was a shared community amenity, that boundaries near water were commonly misunderstood, and that the HOA had long-term plans. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't even an argument. It was an assumption that my consent didn't matter. Behind her, 2 board members stood stiff and silent, while neighbors lingered farther back, avoiding eye contact like they'd seen this before and knew better than to interfere. Claire wasn't loud. She didn't need to be. She was methodical. She wanted the road finished quickly, because once asphalt set, it stopped being negotiable. It became reality. I tried the clean way first. I walked to the edge of the pour and told the crew they were trespassing, pointing from grass to asphalt to lake, trying to make the boundary obvious. For a second, the roller slowed. Then Claire snapped her fingers and told them to ignore me. She said I had no authority there and warned that anyone stopping work would be reported to the board. The machine started again. By midday, cones had moved deeper into my yard. One sat where my sprinkler used to be. When I moved it back, an HOA vest appeared behind me, telling me I was interfering with community project like it was rehearsed. That afternoon, an email arrived from the HOA. No greeting, no signature, just vague language about improvements and temporary inconvenience for shared benefit, ending with a warning that obstructing projects could result in fines. That night, I went to the lake to take photos. A patrol car rolled in quietly behind me. The officer said someone reported suspicious activity near construction equipment. I stood on my own shoreline, phone in hand, while he checked my ID politely but firmly. The message was clear. Claire had escalated before I had even acted. The next morning, a notice appeared on my mailbox declaring the lakeside a temporary HOA control work zone. Temporary was underlined, with no end date. Another email announced an emergency improvement decision. No vote, no discussion, just a declaration that the road was necessary for safety and access. By the third day, private security was stationed at the path. The guard didn't stop me, just watched everything. Claire no longer spoke to me directly. Everything came through notices, emails, and references to bylaws I had never seen enforced before. Trucks kept coming. Grass turned into ruts. Every objection I sent was met with the same reply. The board is reviewing your concern. Neighbors avoided me. One quietly admitted he agreed with me, but only whispered it while taking out trash, explaining Claire had buried him in fines before. Another simply said, "She always wins." And that was the point. Claire didn't need the road finished yet. Only far enough along that stopping it felt impossible. What finally broke the pattern was noticing the direction of the road. It didn't stop at the lake. It curved toward the HOA's lock storage area. Kayaks, event equipment, expansion plans they never openly discussed. If it stayed, it wouldn't be access. It would be control. 3 feet didn't sound like much until it meant the difference between owning your shoreline and losing it forever. That was when fear set in, not panic, but clarity. If I let this harden, I wouldn't get it back. That night, I stopped arguing and started documenting, measuring, photographing, pulling records. One fact stood out. The HOA had no legal right to that strip of land. And without that right, they had no right to pass through it either. I didn't call a lawyer. I didn't make threats. I asked one precise question and sent it to the county land records office, attaching my deed, the plat, and photos of active construction. The reply came the next morning. No easement, no right-of-way, no authorization. That was enough. Without an easement, the road wasn't a community improvement. It was unauthorized construction on private land, and under county code, I had immediate control over access. I printed the email and called a fencing contractor. No theatrics, just a heavy steel gate, anchored in concrete, keypad access, the kind used at private marinas. He asked for approval. I showed him the county response. He scheduled it for the next day. The gate went exactly where the asphalt crossed my boundary, not an inch off. I also installed signs. Private property, no unauthorized access, trespassing subject to action. No emotion, just fact. Claire didn't know yet. She still believed momentum was on her side. The gate went up early morning. By mid-morning, the first maintenance cart reached it and stopped. The driver tried the keypad, then called someone. Soon after, board members stood on the asphalt staring at it like it had appeared overnight. By the time Claire arrived, she was no longer confident. She inspected the concrete footing, then told me I couldn't do this. I told her I already had. She demanded I open it, claiming emergency access and community authority. I handed her the county email. She read it twice. Her expression changed. Within hours, traffic stacked up, trucks, maintenance vehicles, neighbors gathering with phones out, asking questions for first time. Someone finally asked why the road had been built there at all. Claire called the police. She spoke fast, trying to frame it as illegal obstruction. The officer listened, then asked one question. Do you have an easement? Silence. I handed him the documents. He read them and said it clearly. This is a civil matter. He confirmed I was within my rights. The gate stayed shut. That was a shift. Contractors stopped. The HOA management company started urgent calls. By noon, work halted entirely. No one wanted liability for trespassing. Claire stood staring at the gate, silent for the first time, watching the system she controlled stop responding to her. By afternoon, the road had become a dead end. Trucks idled on one side, neighbors gathered on the other. Claire tried calling an emergency HOA meeting on the spot, insisting the gate was dangerous and that I was acting alone. Then she made her mistake. She claimed the HOA owned the land. That broke it. County vehicles arrived. Officers stepped out. Documents were requested. Claire presented everything she had, meeting notes, approvals, invoices, but nothing matched ownership or access rights. I handed over my deed, plat, and the county confirmation again. The officer walked the boundary himself, measured it, and confirmed the roadway was built on private property without authorization. Any continued use, he said, constituted trespass. The tone changed immediately. Questions started spreading to the crowd. Who approved this? Why wasn't ownership verified? Where were the records? Claire tried to explain, but each excuse collapsed under its own weight. The county issued a stop-use notice. Copies were handed to the contractor and HOA representative. Work ended on the spot. Phones lit up with photos of the notice on my gate. The same gate Claire had insisted would never stand. And now it defined the situation. Claire stood silent, staring at the asphalt she had rushed to pour. It wasn't a road anymore. It was evidence. The crowd didn't leave. They stayed, talking quietly, finally asking questions they hadn't dared to ask before. Some admitted they had always suspected the shoreline wasn't truly communal. Others said they stayed silent because it was easier. The engines faded as vehicles backed out. The lake sounded different again. I leaned against the gate and realized I wasn't bracing anymore. No more threats. No more emails. Just space. Then my phone rang. HOA attorney. He confirmed everything. The county notice, the missing easement, the legal reality. The HOA would not contest access rights. They would remove the asphalt and restore the land. Insurance wouldn't cover it due to unauthorized action. He added a new rule. No future HOA project near property lines without written easements, surveys, and recorded homeowner consent. No drama, no argument, just consequences. By evening, contractors returned, not to build, but to measure what needed to be undone. The asphalt was marked for removal. Claire had already left. As the light faded over the lake, people slowly drifted away. A few helped stack cones. Others just stood quietly, looking at the shoreline as it used to be, grass, water, reflection instead of blacktop. I tested the gate once. It swung smoothly, solid and final. Then I closed it, not out of anger, out of certainty. The lake settled into evening quiet. No engines, no shouting, just water catching the last light, exactly where it belonged. Turns out you don't stop a takeover by raising your voice. You stop it by locking the right gate.